Stacy makes her first public appearance as a mayoral candidate, and immediately gets hit with questions about her imminent divorce that was revealed in the previous episode. The party rep makes clear that Stacy's candidacy now depends on the outcome of the Ortega case, which Power fans know will only inspire Stacy to be even more ruthless. Diamond gets an unexpected visit from his ex-girlfriend Gianna, which just turns out to be a bittersweet aside, because he tells her that he's not good for her. Isaac Keys plays a relatively brief moment so well, audiences see a chance at a different life for Diamond literally walking out the door when Gianna leaves. There's Always a Price to Pay is also a really good episode for Shane Harper as Vic Flynn. Vic is literally in bed with the party rep's assistant not once, but twice to get information for Tommy, and he succeeds in learning about Stacy's troubles. Vic suggests that Tommy become the biggest donor to Stacy's mayoral campaign, which is actually a pretty shrewd move. But mostly, it's interesting to see Vic in several different lights. He's scheming with Tommy, yet he also gets some moments of pseudo-happiness in these hookups, which he frankly deserves, and when he finds Claudia's girlfriend in his apartment his rage seems to be about a lot more than her. Vic is at his wit's end, and nobody can blame him, since nobody seems to take him seriously. He's a pawn in the eyes of just about everyone. Will that change before season 3 ends, or will he be collateral damage? Claudia gets into a fight with her rival in prison, but ends up being the victor when she turns the other woman's crew against her. And then there's Mireya, who visits her brother in one of Miguel's sort of actually nice moments. He admits that he's afraid of losing her. It feels like a genuine moment between the siblings, but then later Miguel is torturing a hitman, including cutting off particularly sensitive body parts. There is no way Mireya will get the balance between her brother and her boyfriend that she wants, and the viewer knows it. At the same time, she can't be faulted for trying. Power Book 4, Season 3, Episode 3 goes into detail about how much everyone has to lose, from family to product to actual parts of themselves. The only weakness in the episode is the continued antics of D-Mac, but those are coming to a head based on the hour's cliffhanger ending. Otherwise, this story is just loading up to push Tommy over his own edge later on. There's a lot of hate in the world of Power Book 4, Force. That's a given considering the subject matter. But in Season 3, Episode 2, A Seat at the Table, the Starz drama reminds viewers that it's not all about who's after who and getting one over on each other. There are relationships that are genuine, too. Some more than others. The idea of love, both good and bad, runs through the episode. On the good side, there's Tommy and Mireya, who almost have a cute pizza lunch date before the Marquez cartel tries to kill Tommy. But for the few moments before the drive-by, they're as adorable as anyone in the Power universe ever gets. And in the aftermath, they're sweet too. Mireya patches up a wounded Bones in Tommy's apartment, after which Tommy not only thanks her for doing so, but apologizes for getting her caught up in his feud with the cartel. He displays genuine care not only for her physical safety, but for her feelings, too. Tommy Egan may be a tough guy, yet he also has a heart. Elsewhere, two back-to-back scenes are in direct contrast. Jenerd and Shanti have an emotional moment, in which she tells him that what their personal relationship is just as important as what they're trying to do. Shanti also confronts Jenerd about possibly being back on drugs, and while he isn't, the embrace they share afterward says a lot. Right after that, though, Stacy meets with Bobby following his decision to serve her with divorce papers. It's a back-and-forth conversation that is painful in its whiplash. Her opening line is, "You know you still love me," putting the onus on him, before she tearfully tells Bobby how much she needs him, and then when he asks if she's just trying to reconcile for her new mayoral campaign, Stacy can't answer. There is obviously part of her that is heartbroken. The last shot of Stacy at her desk is likewise worth 1,000 words, but putting these two sequences together shows the difference between the relationships. One couple works through their potential issues, the other doesn't. Then there's Claudia Flynn having a tearful conversation with her girlfriend Becky, too. Power Book 4, Force fans are so used to stone-cold Claudia that it almost comes as a shock to see her affected, and Lily Simmons plays the scene wonderfully. All of this is important in the sense that it gives the entire show meaning. Sure, the drive-bys and hold-ups are thrilling, but tough guys, and gals, on TV are a dime a dozen. Being reminded that these characters are three-dimensional people, beyond whatever they're plotting next, ensures that viewers care and aren't just keeping score. That being said, there are 2 drive-by shootings, a warehouse fire and a beheading in A Seat at the Table. Power Book 4, Force is not skimping on the action in its final season. Tommy walking into a coalition meeting holding up a severed head is probably a top 10 Tommy Egan moment, and Joseph Sikora sells the daylights out of the accompanying monologue to back up the visual emphatically. This episode states, out loud and repeatedly, how many people believe Tommy is a liability. This isn't unexpected. Even in Season 3, the stage has to be set for Tommy to have one last epic battle, and that means people have to turn against him. The threats don't stop. But after setting the stage and re-establishing all the rivalries in the Season 3 premiere, Episode 2 is wise to similarly remind viewers that Power Book 4, Force has more going for it than the drug dealing. From Tommy and Mireya, to Stacy and Bobby, to even Vic reuniting with Beth, there are emotional stakes as well and relationships that audience members can invest in. Some of them are absolutely going to fall apart and some of these people won't survive, but Force is like Tommy Egan, it has a lot more layers than it's given credit for. This season, Tommy Egan is on one, and while it may be extremely entertaining, his list of adversaries is getting longer by the moment. Furthermore, I didn't think it could get any longer than it was. When everything is said and done, Tommy usually gets what he wants, but he should exercise caution since Chicago isn't New York, and if things go south, there might not be anyone to support him. Tommy is usually 10 steps ahead of his adversaries, but it seems like he is so focused at the moment that he is blind to the actual snakes that are already setting up camp in his lawn. It took him a minute to realize that Vic was lying to him, but once he did, he made the decision that keeping Vic alive was more important than killing him, a risk that may ultimately pay off. Vic is a lone wolf with very nothing to look forward to in life, but he is also the least trustworthy guy on this show, which is really saying something. The one little thing he had going for him was getting out of town and starting a new life. And that was taken from him by Tommy and Diamond. So it's either work with them or live with the guilt when they go after Beth shortly before they put him down for good. Tommy's taking a risk with Vic, but he's also met a million Vics before. His back is against the wall, and growing up the way he did, if you're going to be someone's little snitch, it's better to be working for Tommy and Diamond than the ops. Plus, if he gets enough on Stacy, maybe Tommy will give him more of a break. It's not likely, but it's worth a shot if you're Vic. Having an ear inside the task force felt like a familiar power trope. Still, it's slightly different this time because Vic doesn't really know much, but just feeding Stacy fake information and then feeding Tommy real information set off a crazy ripple effect that's going to last for a while. Vic's got himself into quite a predicament, though, because Stacy's not dumb, and it's not as if Tommy ultimately cares in the end if he gets caught by her and she sends him to jail or does whatever. He'll use Vic for as long as he can and then discard him when he's no longer useful. And for that reason alone, you'd think that would